So let's talk today about an interesting event that happened a few weeks ago, a month, 2 months ago. So when winter comes and we have a winter break, most of us dream of going to, I don't know, Paris, or maybe a full, all-inclusive resort somewhere in Mexico or in Turkey, or maybe, some daredevils, they want to climb Mount Everest. I guess it's not the best time of the year to climb Mount Everest, but I'm talking about that kind of vacation. Although the last one is kind of becoming too touristy. I've seen pictures from Mount Everest.
Actually, if we talk about Pakistan, so there is a K2 mountain, which
Probably,
Nepali guys just climbed this month. I think some of them without oxygen mask.
Well, the point here is, K2 is a very serious mountain, no question about that. But some of those destinations, they still have a lot of tourists. I remember photos from Mount Everest where there are so many people that they literally have to wait for, I don't know, minutes, hours just to take a picture on the summit. But now there are some people who go to places where tourists don't go. And one of them is our today's guest. So for his winter break, he chose to go to a place that most people don't think as a tourist destination, which is Pakistan. And so today we want to talk about that trip. I've seen pictures, it's beautiful, very much, a lot of culture and nature, but doesn't look like there are many tourists there. So the question for you, Pavel, is why Pakistan? I mean, of all the places, isn't it a dangerous place, or at least that's what the media tells us?
Yeah, media lie. Quite often, I would say. Why Pakistan? So it's COVID time, So it's the country was open, so it's not much of a choice. No, really, there is a lot of countries open for now, and at winter. So, but actually, going to Pakistan was my concern for a couple of years. So that's why. So I got the chance, and I went.
So it was not a last-minute decision. It's not like you looked on the map or list of countries that allow tourists, and that would be only country. So you've been planning that for a while, I assume, right?
It's in the background, yes, but tickets made a deal, kind of. So they opened a destination. So in COVID time, you follow you follow fly routes, what airlines do actually, and they opened a flight from Istanbul to Karachi. Mm-hmm. So, and we were kind of, it operated months or two when we when we bought tickets, it's operated for a couple of weeks. So they just opened this destination, and that's how decision came into mind. So the request was for New Year, we needed a warm country.
Yeah.
All of the Southeast Asia were closed at the time, or very difficult to get, and or pretty expensive to get there for a couple of weeks. So Pakistan went at mind.
So how long did you be there?
So we did a big background check, and that's it. So just they provide you with online visa since last year, or maybe even 2018. So just that's it was kind of easy decision to make.
So we'll definitely want to hear more about the legal side of it, how difficult it is to get the visa and what kind of documents are needed. But first, so how long did you spend there? So it seems like it was a couple of weeks or something?
16 days. We just spent, it's definitely not enough for
and so which places did you visit? So you flew into what, Karachi, and then?
Yes, we flew to Karachi. We rented a car.
A lot of questions about that, by the way. I'm telling you, I got so many questions about renting.
Okay, we drove from Karachi to Peshawar. It's close to Islamabad. So we went from south to north. Mm-hmm. So we skipped all mountains at the moment because it was too cold for the time. So it's end of December, beginning of January. It's pretty cold there. So it's the best time to go into the mountains is kind of May or September.
Uh-huh.
So we decided that we want to go from south to the north and go it by ourselves. So another reason to go there was to check the ability to, if it was it possible to drive myself. So I wouldn't say self-driving car, but because it has different terms right in the US right now, I think. But they call it self-driving car. Then it would. Anyway, so I wanted to drive from south to the north, so all through way to Pakistan. So actually, my other dream is to take Karakorum Highway. So because once I did Pamir Highway, it was from the other side this mountains, and I wanted to go. So one day I want to come back to take this Karakorum Highway, but it's kind of cold it was kind of cold for the moment.
So before we get into all that driving business, because this is very interesting. So how difficult is it to get into Pakistan? You said background check, like how difficult is it to get the visa? What are the regulations?
Easy. Not sure about, for most of the countries, it's quite easy. So they have, so since 1st February, they don't accept applications in person in embassy anymore.
Uh-huh.
So all visa became e-visa.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the website, you fill in the form, you fill in all countries you've been to for the past 3 years. In my case, it was kind of long list.
Like if you've gone to some wrong country, like I don't know, like in the case of Pakistan, if you've been to.
So I only mentioned countries I used, which passport I used. So I didn't go for huge list I had in previous years, but I was lucky I has kind of fresh passport.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't have to fill but you have to fill every single trip you had, your status, your work, whatever. So like regular form is quite easy to fill in. So it took me a long time to fill in. I don't like forms, I don't like applications and any bureaucracy, but I would say it's quite easy to get. So this visa, it's not a big deal for a couple of years already. So before 2018, it was a big deal to get visa, but now it's quite easy. So they have I don't know, on a government level that they support tourism. So they provide you with visas quite easily. So it's not difficult. There is a law, is something called law, local. I forgot so someone should get an invite.
Uh-huh.
But now if you use hotels, it's quite easy to, so you don't have to. So they provide with visa without any local invitation.
So let's talk about that car business. So you did rent a car and you drove yourself. And,
yes.
And everybody knows, including your photos, the roads in Pakistan are pretty chaotic. I mean, it doesn't look like it's a very safe driving environment.
Friendly environment.
So why did you decide to rent a car and not get a driver with a car? I imagine it's not been much more expensive.
I just like to drive. So I had experience driving in different countries. So that's the difficult one was probably Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, or Middle East. Some Middle East countries, they kind of crazy.
So Saudi Arabia was more difficult than Pakistan?
No, the Pakistan is probably top one. But it's funniest. It's probably the more, I had a lot of fun driving there. It's, I think it's because the speed is not so fast. Like, for example, in Thailand, they drive fast, really fast. In India, I didn't drive in India, but it's kind of looks similar.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So
And
was it difficult to find a rental company? I mean, I don't know, like in the United States, or
yeah,
Saudi Arabia for that matter. I mean, any airport, any hotel, you just rent it there. So in Pakistan, I mean,
yeah.
is that a development?
In Pakistan, there is no such thing like, no, it's difficult to rent a car for yourself and to drive to yourself. They don't understand why you should do that,
Yeah.
because every person who was in Pakistan, they told me, just take a driver, don't drive yourself.
Right.
So it's because it's too much for you. And I mean, it's very difficult. And consider.
I'll show some pictures as you're telling me.
Oh, sure. Considering this, there is no market for rentals. No, at least there is market for rentals, but only for local people.
Mhm.
And every small company I asked to rent me a car, they told me we provide you with a driver, so we don't we don't give you a car. So just take a driver and and relax. That's kind of what they say. So they don't understand why foreigners should drive cars there. But, and I would say for average person, it's better not to drive in Pakistan, or even for experienced persons not to drive. It's better not to drive in Pakistan by themselves. It takes quite effort. But if you like it, if you love to drive and you understand the consequences and you are responsible for what can go wrong, and you can take this responsibility, so you probably should try it if you like it. But you're probably not gonna like it. What?
Are they driving on the left or on the right side of the road?
Right side. So for me, it's a different side also.
The British or the European? I mean, like the
I mean UK. So it's former UK
so you
Britain colony.
So, but you come from a country where people drive.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So you got a car in Pakistan with their own, like with the steering wheel on their own side.
Yes, and I drive stick.
and a stick shift. But so in when you talked about driving the car, so you mentioned something about like the police always kind of, like escorting you. Is that how it works, or
no?
There some
the police escort is for a couple of regions in Pakistan. There are some tribal areas which is close to Iran and Afghanistan, close to the border. There is south area where they think that's kind of dangerous there. So, and as a governmental program, they provide you with convoy, police convoy. So how it looks. So there is a car that goes, I would say 10 kilometers or a couple of miles. Then they change car, another convoy and another convoy. So you just go and always new car. So in couple of miles or 10, maybe 15 kilometers, they change car and you drive, and then you should follow them. That's and it takes from Hyderabad to Multan it's 700 kilometers or something like that. So it took us 3 days actually to.
Oh, that is slow.
To try to get rid of the convoy.
You have to pay for that convoy extra, or is it sort of just the government?
No, it's free. It's absolutely free. It's a governmental program. So they, if they catch you, they provide you with the convoy. So, and once you get to hotel, so how it works. So actually, in general, if you don't have to sleep anywhere, so you don't have to stay, you can drive yourself anywhere you want. So there are some checkpoints where you cannot go. So probably you saw one picture here, like no foreigners beyond this point. So they don't What did I say?
So you get in the hotel, so you need to sort of
Yeah, if you don't have to sleep,
uh-huh.
you can kind of easily get. They don't find you. But the problem comes when you need when you need accommodation. When you go to the hotel tells the police, and police comes and follow, and you have to. They ask you for your itinerary, where you go, and they escort you to that place. And usually it's kind of slow, so it's much slower than you can drive yourself. Sometimes if there is a district border, so if you change district, there could be some kind of, so you have to wait to wait for another convoy, even sometimes for a couple of hours. Yeah. And it's winter, it's a short daylight is kind of limited resource in the winter, so you cannot afford to lose a couple of hours just waiting for a police convoy. So what we did, we tried to get rid of the convoy. We didn't try to escape it. We didn't know the consequences of that.
But is it a rule? I mean, are you required to wait for the police, or if you just go on your own? I mean, is it something that
you don't know? So they say you cannot go, but sometimes they say you probably can go, but policemen will have kind of problems later because he. Yeah. So in general, it's possible to go without convoy. So it's. I made them let us go. Kind of. I talked them to let us go. talked out.
Tell us what's in the picture here. So I remember you said something about a funny sort of parking business in Pakistan. So what's going on in this picture here?
Here it's just someone parked where is forbidden.
That's not your car, right? It's somebody else.
No. It's in Peshawar in the North Pakistan. So if you park car somewhere where it's not allowed to park, comes this guy and put you on the high. There's road and how you call
like
this?
Sidewalk or something.
Sidewalk, yeah. And sidewalk is really high. Your wheel is, so you cannot.
Like you can jump.
If someone puts you on this sidewalk, you can do nothing. So your car is stuck there until. So when the drivers come back, so they pay fine for
right here on the spot. Right?
On the spot, yes, and they bring their car.
That's convenient. I mean, that's much better than when they tow the car all the way to somewhere you.
Yeah, it's pretty effective. I would say it's the 100%. I like it. So first, I thought it's a strange way to park the car. At the first, but people were angry at the officer. So later people told me that that's not just parking; it's like fine. So
that's the way. Yeah.
So it's just fine.
So. In terms of language, I know you probably speak multiple languages, you travel so much, but was it a problem? Like, was English sufficient? Do you speak any of the local languages? How did it work?
In big cities, it's kind of okay. So it's difficult. I expected more English there. So I really expected. So, but most of them didn't speak English. They spoke Urdu. Mm-hmm. And only some of them spoke English. So, but it's manageable. So, but I don't. You can show what you want. Like I need this or something. So you try to. So smile. It's really good
The
courage.
best language, yeah.
The best language, yes.
My apology for being so direct here, and I see we have a few people watching us from Pakistan. So, like for example, there is Sibhal from Islamabad, and then there are a few other comments here, apparently from people from Pakistan. So, but I still want to ask. So, at least in the United States, where I am, and as you said, media lie, no question about that. But when they talk about Pakistan, it's always, pretty much always in very, it's not really that they talk in a negative light about the country. It just, every time there is news from Pakistan, it's something, you know, somebody got killed or some bomb went off or something like that. And so how safe did you feel there? I mean, was it, did you ever feel threatened, or did you ever feel like you can get in trouble? Because it sounds like people were very, very warm to you. And looking at the pictures, everybody's smiling. It doesn't look like a dangerous place at all. So what's your impression, kind of honestly?
Impression is pretty safe. So I don't know about, so people, some people told me that in rural areas, some people are not, are kind of dangerous. So people, so they only probably sometimes, some people told me about there is something dangerous, but I didn't understand what exactly is dangerous there. But feeling is quite safe. So especially in the north, I mean, I wouldn't tell, I don't know about south areas. So in Karachi, it's, I don't know. So I have kind of controversial feeling. I didn't feel anything dangerous, but I don't want to substitute feeling with the reality. So I don't know. The answer, my answer is I don't know. I don't feel any danger. I didn't feel any danger there, but I don't want to tell if there is no danger at all. So, but sometimes I feel more danger in some more safer countries. So I didn't feel any problem there. Maybe sometimes I can be scared. I don't know why, but it depends probably on you.
But the people, they were friendly to you, right? Like I see you taking pictures and they seem to be smiling to you. I assume when you buy food or whatever you had to buy. So were they sort of looking at you suspiciously and maybe a little bit, you know?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I experience that kind of thing, but it's not something that is, I would say it's not that significant as other countries. So because in Ukraine, they also look at you suspicious sometimes. So I don't know, I wouldn't say it's very dangerous there. So, but I don't want to proclaim that it's safe. Absolutely, I don't know. Then with me, nothing happened with me, but it's just survival bias, probably, you know. But it does feel that it's safe there.
Yeah, that's the important thing, because there are some places you go to and you feel that, you know, you can get in trouble. So here, if you felt comfortable, probably it was fine. There is a question from one of our listeners from Montreal, from Canada. So he says it was an amazing experience. Thank you so much for sharing. But he asks, how long did it take you to prepare for the trip? And did you plan for any sort of risk-related consequences? And if so, what did you do? Like, I don't know, like I assume you told your relatives that you're going to Pakistan, but did you take any other precautions?
Mm. No. So there are some areas. So I didn't try to go to areas that is kind of prohibited for foreigners. There is some kind of documents. I cannot find it right now, but they're shared over internet, and there are checkpoints, you know, where guys will not let you go in areas which they consider dangerous. So they provide you with this funny convoy.
Yep.
Well, they think they protect you, but I don't know. Not really. So I didn't go to areas which is prohibited. So it's, if we can consider this as precaution, it is precaution. Yes, my relatives did know I went to Pakistan. What else?
Well, I imagine, you know, I think what I would do, maybe, I don't know, like tell my parents or someone in Pakistan that, you know, if I don't call you at, let's say, at 4 p.m. every day, it means something happened, you know, call the, I don't know.
I'm not sure I'm going to such place. I went to such places in Pakistan. So I think if I believe there are some places like this. So, or maybe some places you cannot go by yourself. So you need to local person to get you there. But I know it's so. Yeah,
Now,
the main precaution is I didn't go to the places which is kind of really prohibited. But there are places I want to go, and I need time for this. And Pakistan is huge, you know. It's a lot of.
it is a huge country.
And it's huge country, and the thing it was winter, so we put our focus into south of Pakistan. No one goes to south Pakistan. I don't know why. So everyone goes to the mountains, so which is gorgeous, amazing, but no one goes to south of Pakistan. But it's just the beginning of civilization there, you know.
Right.
So Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and other big Ind River. Yeah. No, that's.
Well,
It's a hard question for me because, you know, sometimes this security things is just quite.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it. So usually to get to those places which are dangerous in reality right now, you have to get permission.
right. So it's not
So
just.
that's if. I hope it helped this answering this question.
Well, fair enough. Now, I can't help but notice that you were not alone. So it seems like you had with you a friend, a significant other. And so I'm curious about your sort of clothing, attire. I know when I was in Canada, we had a joint program with a university in Iran. And so our professors would go back and forth and their students would go back and forth. And so we got, training on, basically how you should dress in Iran. Women need to cover, their hair and things like that. So I see on some of the pictures, you guys have what seems like local clothing. And I'm curious, was it just for the photo, or did you actually buy some clothing to kind of look more local?
Yeah, we bought some clothing there. Actually, if you.
Oh, you know, okay. So one of those, yeah. So you got that.
Sorry, just need to. This is kind of local. I'll keep it that way. So in the north, yeah. We just bought it to show our respect. So it's possible to go so no one, they will look at you strangely sometimes, probably if you're too open for, in terms of clothes. So, but to show our respect, we bought some clothes and probably we did it for ourselves. So to feel comfortable. So but it's still they catch you.
Of course, I can imagine that you are.
No matter how hard you try to look like local, they understand you're not.
Are there many tourists? Like, did you see anyone else from outside of Pakistan as you were there? Like, were you the only?
Couple of people, yeah. In touristy places, like in touristic sites, yeah, there were some foreigners. So there are many Pakistani people, but yes, there were some tourists, but not so many. So it's our roads crossed a couple of times just in a couple of weeks. So most of the time we were alone. Yeah.
I can imagine that you were, still, even though you put the local clothing and you have some beard, I see, but you probably still were,
some guys told me that I look like Chitral tribe. It's from northwest Pakistan, so which is Kalashi guys. So some of them told me, I think probably, yeah. So some Pakistani told me, so that allowed me to a couple of times buy local tickets.
So you have like a discount if you are a local, or?
Yeah, thing is just sometimes you pay 20-25 fold times than local people and foreigners.
How about culture? So there is a question here about cultural differences. What was the most shocking for you? Or did you notice anything that was so unusual that you didn't expect to see it? I assume you did expect some differences, but I mean,
Actually, I felt like the problem is I already it's really hard to impress me in terms of cultural differences. So actually, I love.
Have you been to? How many countries have you been to? Because you've been to like dozens. How many?
73.
Oh, okay. So you've been to pretty much, yeah, everywhere. Okay, still, okay. But that was your first time in Pakistan, right?
Yes, this was my first time in Pakistan, and you know, I felt like I understand them. So I can feel like it's kind of, I don't know. So I felt I was, it felt like a charming. So I loved it. So it was kind of this chaos. I understand it. So it's kind of sort of my nature. So I still don't like this things like I don't know how to tell this. It's раздолбай.
I don't even know how to. I know the word, but yeah. So, an adventurous man. Let's call it this way. So,
okay. So it's sometimes it's very difficult to deal with. So just I mean, if you agreed on something, it doesn't mean it will happen.
Yeah, but it's all about expectations management, right? So you expected something different, and were not shocked when the things happened.
I didn't expect. I mean, something. I didn't have those such expectations. Like I don't know how to explain.
But was there something?
It was nice.
But was there anything that was completely unexpected? Like, you know, anything that you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Like anything that really shocked you? I don't know, culturally or maybe, I don't know, legally, or anything where you were, you know, really surprised or
I'm sorry, I'm the bad guy to ask this question. Sorry, it's very difficult. So I loved it. So actually,
yeah, when you've been to so many
very nice.
countries, I guess it's hard to surprise you. Now, I did notice on many of your photos, we see a scene like this. So what's this here? Is it like some sort of like a tea restaurant?
So this is a special Peshawari kawa, we call it. So it's this kind of tea with lemongrass, cardamom, and they do it in this kind of samovar thing.
So is that sort of like a street restaurant or was it?
Yeah, it's kind of small street restaurant which is specialized on tea only usually. So this is amazing tea. So they call it kawa in some kawa.
But it's not coffee, right? It's
not coffee at all. So it's kind of tea. So it's sort of green tea. So some people say it's not tea at all. That is special, so something else. But it looks like kind of green tea with lemongrass and cardamom. And sugar.
Yeah, tell us more about the food. So I see, you know, you have some pictures, and so this looks, at least some of it looks a little Western, but then the rest looks very different. So was the food any good? Was it expensive? What did you, like, for example, this year, is it something?
Food is what was more, this is cactus. Cactus?
Like a
yeah.
Spiky, okay.
Yeah, it's you have a big cactus and this small red. It's the fruits of cactus. They have meat. So actually, I expected more food, more different food, but food wasn't so different. They're close to India, and I expected kind of Indian food, but there wasn't so much Indian food in there. So they have they know how to cook meat, I would say. So it's really tasty. It's really smooth. It's really, so this they call it karai. This it's like not curry, but just like, you know.
But they do have meat from what I see, right? So it's not Indian, mainly vegetarian. It seems like it's all full variety, right?
Almost halal meat.
Yeah.
Almost. And so meat, bread, rice, some fruits, and I remind you, it's December. There is not so many fruits in there at the moment, so they will come in. They will come later, but not at the time we were there.
Right. Now I have to ask. I know you asked me not to put that in the announcement, but I noticed that some pictures are taken from above. So I assume it was not a helicopter ride. It looks like you did have a drone. So
Yes.
was it dangerous? Was it, I mean, like flying a drone in a country like Pakistan? I mean, even in the United States, you can get in trouble for flying drones in some places. So I'm curious if there was any sort of, restriction on that, or did you ask anyone? Or
I searched internet for the question, and they, at least, first of all, they sell drones for people.
Oh, right there. Okay.
So you can buy drone in Pakistan. So the question is if you can import drone. So this is a big issue. Many people ask this, and we don't know the answer, really.
You had one with you, right? You didn't buy it. You brought it with you.
Yeah, I did it through customs with my carry-on. So no one asked any question.
In the airport, nobody asked, why do you have a drone with you?
When you get in, no one checked, and when I went out, they took my remote control and put it back into my bag. So they didn't ask any question. There was the moment of truth. So probably because my drone is small, it's DJI Mavic Mini. It's less than 250 grams, which is probably under some regulations by weight. So it's allowed to fly drone in Pakistan. So the law is kind of, I would say, fuzzy here. So it's not really. So you don't know. So the army is strictly against it, and people are. But there is no laws yet to strictly prohibit it. But usually, when you ask if I can fly, they say in tourist sites, they say no. Some of them say that no. Some of them say no because you will, I don't know, shoot commercial there. But I don't get it. Why? What's wrong with this? But some especially in small tourist sites, it's no one cares. So it seems like it's better not to fly close to people with a uniform. It's better not to. So, and I strictly, so I don't recommend this.
Right. Yeah. Well.
So just please don't get me wrong. I really don't know. So the law is really fuzzy here, and the army is really against. People are okay with that. So.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I cannot tell you do this because a couple of years ago, one famous Ukrainian traveler was caught for the drone in Iran. So he had a big problem with this. So just don't do this. Don't repeat it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Technically, my understanding is that Pakistan is officially at war with India at this time for many years now, and so I guess
just forget about prohibited areas. The problem is here is only because I think the problem is because there are many spots with army. I mean, so and you don't know where it is.
Right,
so
like military base.
If you knew it's so, and you cannot know probably. So it's kind of classified maybe information. I don't know. So if you do it at your own risk. But it's possible to buy drone in Pakistan. So we met a guy. He bought a drone in Pakistan and made very good shots, or maybe videos. But he bought it there. So import, it's quite tricky. So I don't recommend the big drone. Definitely, if you ever try it, I strongly don't recommend to do this. But if you have small one, I don't know. It's at your own risk.
Yeah, so there are some comments here from our listeners who say that there is actually a formal procedure for that. Like Rabia is saying that you need to submit an application before flying a drone at historical places. That's what I've heard. So learned from Pakistan travel vloggers. So it seems like I'm not sure if you submitted any formal applications, but so.
No, I haven't. So I actually
Yeah.
missed a lot of good shots. So I was kind of conservative, not aggressive in trying it. So I just I didn't risk many times. So I just, if I felt there is not, so I double checked, or sometimes I triple check if I can do it. But I tried not to. So I tried to ask first, almost most of the time. So if it was possible. So that's, yeah, probably there is a formal procedure. But sorry, I'm not the guy who will tell you. I don't like bureaucracy. This is the problem here.
There is an interesting question from Angela from Italy. So she's asking about the COVID situation. So I don't see any people in masks on the street, for example. So how is it? What's the situation there?
On the streets, no one wears a mask. In the stores, in museums, in anywhere there is something official, so there you have to wear a mask, but they're not strict about it. So it seems like it was kind of good old times for me. It looked at least. So for me, I had COVID-19, so I'm not afraid of it anymore. So for me, it was kind of good old times. It felt like it. So I just
pandemic.
but I heard a lot of cough in there. So just situation is, I think that they don't care. So there are a lot bigger problems for than COVID-19 for them, at least. But they ask you for PCR test when you come in 72 hours, I think, or 96. I don't remember exactly.
Got it. Now, so we have a lot of questions about pricing. So was it an expensive country to visit, from renting a car to food to hotels? What is the price level there?
So price level, I wouldn't say that it's not an expensive country. Hotels are pretty expensive, I would say, for what you get.
Can you give us the range, like approximately how much? And
so it's possible to stay in hotels like $30-$40 per night, but actually hotels is a big problem for Pakistan. They're really poor quality. They're kind of dirty. It's really hard to find a good hotel. We had only one good hotel. It was in Multan, and it cost $70, and it was good enough. But if you want to go below 50, it's very difficult. So it's for example, in India, you can get much better hotels for twice less, so for half of the price that you. So it just, yeah.
How about car rental? How much did you pay for that?
So in total, I paid $700 for car rental for 15 days.
Mm-hmm. So that's 700, you said?
$700.
$47 a day. That's not bad. And that's without the driver, but the car was, I saw a picture somewhere of the car, so it was like a decent car, right? Like something.
Yeah. About the car, there is only one company that provides you with the car, actually, for self-driving. It's Sixt only, and others guys. So you can still rent a car from local guys, but they probably don't allow you to drive by yourself. So in that case.
So that's about then $47 by American standards. Is quite expensive, but it's within reason. How about food?
Reasonable.
How about food? How much would it cost, to have a meal like lunch or dinner?
Oh, I forgot already. So we had, so it really depends. So we had food for from from $1 to $20 so it's just a huge range. So but in general, I think $4-6 for I expected cheaper actually, frankly, but it depends where you go. So if you go to some rural places, it depends where you eat. So if touristy places, it's more expensive. It's possible to eat cheap.
Mhm.
So it's possible. Yeah.
And then you pay, I assume, cash all the time, or you can use a credit card?
Yeah, it was only cash. Even for car rental, it was cash, which is
Is
what
it
was.
difficult to get cash? Like, do they have like ATMs, bank machines?
I brought every single note from Ukraine, so I didn't withdraw any money. So I tried actually. I even issued Union Pay card, and it didn't work. So none of my cards worked at all in Pakistan.
If you had to pay with, for example, dollars or euros, would it be possible, or they just require local currency all the time?
They require most of the time you pay local currency. This picture was hard to get.
So that's a drone picture, right? I assume.
Yes, it was. I just chose a spot, took one shot, and go away. So because before police could come.
So what's in this picture? Is it some sort of like what is it, like some fort?
It's Daravar Fort.
Fortification?
Right. It's a kind of very famous fort of Pakistan.
Yeah, very interesting. There's another question about hotels. How do you book a hotel? Do you just sort of look around and find?
This is it was a big issue actually for this from Hyderabad to Multan. This 700. So for 3 days we didn't know where we're gonna sleep. So because we didn't have they don't allow you to stay if you don't have no objection certificate. It's called. And to get it, you have to go through some bureaucracy, and as I mentioned, I don't like bureaucracy, so we just ignore it. Once we paid extra to be able to get to the hotel, so they didn't want to get us in. So because you don't have knock, so we cannot allow you to stay. So we paid extra. One other night.
So you get it from the government, so it's no objection from the government, or you do not object to?
No, from the government. So you have to go to kind of, I know, intelligence, police. I don't know. I think police. They give you this no objection certificate, but sometimes it takes long time to get. So it depends on areas where you want to go. Mm-hmm. So, and the 3 nights we were trying. Once we found a friend. He asked for us, and they allowed us to stay 1 night. So 2 nights. One we paid extra. One local friend told us that's going to be okay, and 1 night was the special hotel for tourists, which after 2 nights, after that night we got convoy in the morning after this official hotels. But if you go from Multan to the north, no problems with hotel. So only in South Pakistan there are some problems with hotel for foreigners. Locals, there's no problems for locals.
I'm looking at this picture and I see they have so many different languages. This is Cyrillic. This is
Cyrillic. It's very strange. It was very strange to see Cyrillic in Pakistan, but I think it's for Tajikistan and Uzbekistan and other stan in ex-USSR countries.
So, but Pakistan, they use what, Latin letters? I mean, this is not Pakistani.
No, it's Chinese, of course. China builds a lot of. They built all of the good roads in Pakistan, so all of highways. In partnership. So China is aggressively trying to, I think, beat India here and support Pakistan in many ways, I think. So they built in partnership with China, they built good highways, and they are really good. And this Russian Cyrillic language, I think it's for ex-USSR. So because if you here to Tajikistan, it's less than 500 kilometers, I think.
Yeah,
so it's kind of not far, maybe 400 even.
Yeah, interesting. How about the internet and connection and phones? So there is a question here. So did you have I don't know, Wi-Fi and cell phone? Could you go online?
It was roaming. In my case, we tried to buy a local SIM card, but they didn't want to sell to us. They asked, so it's still possible to get a SIM card to get for a foreigner. You have to go to central office of the in big city. But the problem was in big cities we were at weekends, so we couldn't get this. So we used roaming. So we didn't. So for you, Ukrainian roaming is quite good, I would say.
Was it expensive?
Not really. So it cost about $2 per 100 megabytes or something like that. So it's kind of reasonable.
Cheaper than my local rate in the United States without any roaming.
Yeah, Ukrainian roaming is quite good, I would say, anyway, especially I don't know, almost in many countries. So it has problems probably in Africa only, but in other world, so it has a good roaming tariff.
That's not bad. I see some pictures, so there's obviously a lot of culture and history, and I assume these old buildings have some historic significance, but also a lot of nice nature pictures. So what was your favorite part? What kind of scenery or places did you like most? By the
This
way,
is our convoy.
So what is that's not you, right? So or
it's almost I told him let me tow you to the next station.
Oh, so that's your police convoy, or what is
yes, it is.
Oh, so what happened here?
So the engine didn't start.
So that they were supposed to escort you, but they couldn't start. So
yes. And I told them, let me tow you. But they didn't agree. It could have been fun.
That would have been embarrassing to them, like So, but in terms of your favorite places in Pakistan, so what are the destinations, or I don't know, cities that you would recommend? That
I would recommend Peshawar, definitely.
So that's a city, or it's like some sort of a museum?
It's a city in the north. So probably I recommend Lahore. So if you don't have time, so probably go to Lahore and Peshawar. So
these are beautiful pictures. I mean, this is very different from what I normally see. I mean, it doesn't look like Turkey. It doesn't look like India. Like it looks different.
No, it's different from India. Yeah, it's definitely different. So it's some sort of there are some similarities, but the people are different.
Well, I just realized we've been talking for the whole hour, so I still want to ask a couple of other questions. So practical stuff. So if somebody wanted to go to Pakistan, what are the sort of do's and don'ts or tips, or anything that they need to sort of pay attention to as they're preparing for the trip?
It depends what you want. So if you go to North Pakistan, so just fly there. So if you want to see mountains, which are gorgeous there. So go to the north. So don't try to follow this way like we did, self-driving from south to north. But I think actually I liked south. So it's it was interesting experience. What I recommend. So just go.
How much was it for your entire trip? I mean, if you have the number, if you can share, like, was it an expensive trip overall?
It took for two people, it was about $3,000 in for everything in terms of
That's not too bad. I mean, one spends much more to go to Mexico.
Yeah, 700 for the car, for almost 1,000 for tickets for two people, and the rest for the 2 weeks. I think $100 a day. I think it's quite reasonable.
Yeah, very, very reasonable. Now, finally, so what's next? I mean, you go to all these unusual places. Last time we spoke, you had a multi-country trip through the Middle East. So where next?
Oh, I wish I had more time. So for now.
But any
Next,
specific plans, anything that you're planning at this time?
there are some plans, but they're just not that impressive. So just I go Turkey, Montenegro, or something like that.
Well, apparently, you know, when you know where to go, sometimes you go to a country that everybody goes to, but once you kind of veer off the, you know, the touristy path, you can.
Of beaten tracks, so yeah.
No, but I've seen some of your photos, for example, you know, I've been to many of those kind of Gulf state countries. And so what I've seen was mainly, you know, the Hiltons and the Hyatts and the conference centers. What you saw was very different. And so I normally would go like on a, you know, guided tour where, you know, like, for example, when I went to the desert, you know, you get in one of those, you know, Land Cruisers with the driver. And, you know, it kind of looks cool in the photos, but in reality, it's a very, very sort of, you know, standard, you know, thing of the, you know, everybody does it when they go there. You rented a car, you went through those kind of interesting places. Some of those places didn't look like, you know, what you would normally see in the big cities. So I guess you can always make it more exciting by just sort of going away from the standard destination.
Follow me on Facebook, you'll see. I usually find something interesting.
Yeah. And so Rabia is also asking, so did you make all the arrangements on your own, or somebody made those arrangements for you for the trip?
What do you mean by arrangements?
Like you didn't use like a travel agency or anything like that?
No.
You did it only.
I know. So I like to do it myself. So I like to explore. So this is the problem. Problems with agencies, it's predictability.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes it gives you the sort of the peace of mind and gives you sort of.
So I usually try to do what people didn't do before me. So so there are not so many people who rented a car in Pakistan and drove. So there are. I don't want to say I'm the first. No, I'm not. But I'm trying to find this adventures. So,
yeah, well, having spoken to you, I really want to go and visit Pakistan, although I don't think I will be renting the car myself, especially given the steering wheel is on the wrong side. You know, I'll probably get.
It's not the wrong side. It's just the other side. So don't call it the wrong side.
Well, from what I hear, you know, people who like, we have some colleagues who got jobs in the United Kingdom, in Australia. They say it takes a few weeks before you become comfortable driving on the other side of the road.
The funny thing is, you don't. First of all, you just take your door instead of shifting gear. Then you realize, oh, it's a door, so you use your other hand.
But
then you turn.
So
there is
the same, I assume, right? Everything is the same as far as like they don't switch the gas and brake pedal.
No, they don't switch anything. So it just move it from one place, from one side to another. So then when you try to. Then you first gear, then fourth, because you try to flip it.
Yeah.
But you should stay the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I went to the UK, for example, a few times, and I almost got hit a few times by a car when crossing the street, because, you know, when I cross the street, I always look left, but then, you know, right? So, and it has to be the other way around. And so you just have those habits. So I guess I wouldn't even.
I changed my habit. I look to both sides. No,
maybe.
It doesn't matter in which country. It works pretty well. You know, it works in every country when you look to both sides every time.
Even as a pedestrian, I almost caused a few traffic accidents, so I can only see what I would be like, you know, in a car. So, well, thank you so much. It's been very informative. We have actually in this project, I lead X-Culture, we have several universities from Pakistan that participate in the project. And so twice a year, before COVID at least, we have the face-to-face meeting. And so we've been looking for a new location. And so when I announced the talk with you, we already got a few invitations from our colleagues in Pakistan. I don't know, maybe we should do this.
I should return to Pakistan. So I will definitely, I love it. So I just want to go north. North is waiting for me.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know, when it gets warmer in the summer, right? So.
It's getting warm already, kind of. Yeah, in May and September. So the locals told me that don't go in July because every Pakistani travels to. Summer. It's time for local tourism.
So
So
that,
better go in May or in September, October.
yeah. Plus, I imagine
But
it
not in July.
should be really hot in the summer. I mean, unless you get into the mountains, but I imagine it will be relatively warm. Well, thank you so much for the insights and for the tips and for sharing your travels. As I said, you're one of the most adventurous people I know. I know many people who've been to many countries, but in most cases, kind of the beaten path. And you go to places that tourists usually don't go. So that's quite amazing, quite admirable. So, let's see what's the next destination, and maybe we'll talk about that one maybe in another half.
Maybe. Thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure.
And thank you everyone for watching us here. Thank you for your questions.
Okay.